Hello, and welcome to Alive in the Kitchen. Today we're making Korean barbecue tofu and vegetable kebabs. A quick marinade infuses the tofu with flavor for an irresistible Korean-style glaze. Serve alone as an appetizer or as a meal with some brown rice or quinoa. For this recipe, you will need 9 skewers soaked in water for 15 minutes. This helps to prevent charring on the grill. Now I'm going to go through the marinade ingredients one by one. We've got 1 cup of water, low sodium soy sauce, low sodium vegan chicken bouillon paste or powder, a half a teaspoon of dried rubbed sage, a quarter of a teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 clove of garlic crushed, 12 ounces of tofu cubed, 1 onion chopped, 1 green pepper, and 9 button mushrooms. To make the marinade, I'm going to take the hot water and put it into the pot along with all the rest of the marinade ingredients. So we've got the hot water, the soy sauce, the vegan chicken bouillon, the sage, the thyme, and the crushed garlic. Now I'm going to bring the marinade over to the stove and bring it to a boil. So now that our marinade has come to a boil, I'm going to add the tofu, lower the heat, and let that simmer for about 5 minutes. Now I'm going to combine the marinated tofu into a shallow heat-proof glass baking dish. Make sure that when you pour the tofu in the marinade, that the tofu is well covered. Then I'm going to cover it and put it in the refrigerator and set aside until we're ready to cook. So we've prepared the vegetables. We have 1 white onion cut end to end into 8 wedges and separated the layers, 1 green pepper cut into 1-inch pieces, and we've left our mushrooms whole. Now I'm going to put together our Korean barbecue sauce. We have 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of Korean fermented hot red pepper paste, 2 tablespoons of agave nectar, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, a half a teaspoon of natural liquid smoke, 1 clove of garlic crushed, and a half a teaspoon of toasted sesame seeds. So now that our tofu has been marinating, I'm going to remove it with a slotted spoon and put it into a shallow tray, and then cover it with our Korean barbecue sauce. Just make sure the tofu is well drained as you're removing it. So now I'm going to take the Korean barbecue sauce and coat the tofu really well so that every piece of tofu has some sauce on it. So just pour the mixture on and use a spoon to coat it. Now I'm going to take my skewers and my vegetables and I'm going to skewer each kebab one by one. So we're going to start with a skewer and a mushroom. Just put it right through the middle. Then I'm going to grab an onion, some green pepper, and a cube of tofu. I'm going to repeat that again. So we've got a mushroom, onion, and green pepper, and another piece of tofu. And I'm going to slide this aside and put this right back into the marinade so it can coat all together. Let's do another one. So unless you're gonna barbecue or use an indoor grill for your kebabs, use a baking sheet and place your kebabs on them in a row so that we can coat them and bake them in the oven. And coat the kebabs with some extra barbecue sauce. Once the kebabs are put on the baking sheet, I'm going to put them into the oven under the broiler 4 to 6 inches under the heat source. Then, as they start to broil, I'm going to wait for the tofu to blacken a little bit and then turn them around and continue to baste them with a little bit more barbecue sauce. So now I've removed my charred and brown tofu kebabs from the oven. I'm going to plate it on a bed of brown rice. Then I'm going to use some of my reserved barbecue sauce and drizzle it on top for some extra flavor. Now I've got a nourishing, wholesome meal. You can choose to eat the skewers alone as an appetizer or serve it along some quinoa.